Okay, so in this video we're going to do a quick test scenario, make sure our script is working correctly. So I'm going to jump over to our folder. I'm going to create a new text document for a new render description file. So I'm going to right click, come down to new, and create a new text document. And I'm going to call this myrender.txt. And if we open this up, we need to start out by specifying our render node. So our render node is going to be /out/mantra1. We also need to specify which camera we're rendering from. Well, I'm going to render with the /obj/shot02 camera, because in this situation I'm going to render out a few frames of our character right at the start of the animation, looking through shot 2 as he's breathing in. And those frames that I'm going to render out are going to start at 230 and end at 232. And I'm going to set the shot name to equal shot2, and our file base equal again to C/projects /td vol2 /renders. Coming down, let's set up a few passes. So let's call on a new render, and let's specify for this render that the objects we want to render is going to be our character. The lights we want included in that render are going to be our two main spotlights, so main spot 1 and main spot 2. The pass in this case is going to be a diffuse pass. I want to give the objects the name character, and I want to give the lights the name main spots. So we'll group both of these spotlights under the name of main spots. L night, wow. That was a L name getting combined with the idea of light in my head. That's kind of crazy. So L name equals main spots, and that's going to be one of our renders. I'm going to Control C to grab all of this, drop down Control V 2 more times. We'll set the second one over to a specular pass. So specular, and we'll make the third one be a shadow pass. Now for the shadow pass, I do want to also bring in our stage, so we get the shadow between our character and the stage, again from our main spotlight. In this case, the object name I'm also going to change over to shadow, so that we get our shadow passes going inside a shadow folder. It doesn't make sense to have the shadows with the name character, since we're dealing with all of our scene when we usually set up shadows. So with this, we've got 3 render passes and our settings for the render set up, so we can save out this text document. I'm going to right click to edit our tool, and where we were specifying our temp description.txt, I'm now going to specify the myrender.txt file. If I accept this out, now before we go ahead and render, I do want to point out we don't have a renders folder already in our C projects TD volume 2. So when we click render and everything gets rendered, we're going to see that folder created.
I'd also like to point out that this is just a very simple test with 3 small passes.
Yeah.
Or when we begin actually creating the true render description file, it's going to consist of somewhere around 77 passes in all.
Something like that.
An
over,
average of
yeah.
about 20 passes per shot.
Yeah, we got our 4 shots, and in total we're going to have around 77 of those new render entries over all of our files. So let's go ahead and attempt to render, and we're actually going to see we have a slight typo from when we set up our script. So that's not to worry. We're going to jump in and find out where we've named director name instead of directory name. So
that's only one typo. That's not bad.
Considering the fact that there's like 200 lines in the script, I'm fairly pleased with that. So let's hunt for, there we go, director name. That should have been our variable directory name, where we're specifying the base directory we're rendering to. So directory name. So now we can accept and click on render. We'll see that that will go ahead. It will parse through that file. It will generate all of the render descriptions that we needed. It's then going to set up those renders and render them off one by one. And here we go, as the shadow pass renders, taking a little bit longer than the other 2 passes.
To be expected.
And now that that's finished, we can jump over back to our folder. See, we've created the renders folder. We created the shot 2 folder inside. It's created the character and the shadow folder. Inside character, we've got the 3 frames from our main spots diffuse, so character underscore main spots underscore diffuse, and our character underscore main spots underscore specular. Inside our shadow folder, we have shadow underscore main spots underscore shadow, and we can go ahead and we can load these up in mplay. So I'm going to load disk files. Let's jump up, let's jump inside our renders folder, inside shot 2, get our character, grab our character's diffuse pass and load that in, and we can see 3 frames of our diffuse pass there, noting that we only have our main spotlights and we only have our character. We can also open up our specular pass if we force mplay to recache. We can see we've got the specular highlights just from our main spotlights, just on our character if we go into our alpha channel. And finally we can load in our shadow pass, which if we force that to recook and switch over into our alpha, we can see our shadows nicely in the alpha there. So yeah, it looks like our script, other than that one small typo, is working perfectly for us.
Yeah, that's not bad. Now in the next video, the journey begins.
Yeah.
We'll be assembling the real render description file that we're going to use for the Talented Ball project, now that we know that everything works. So with that, that is going to conclude this video. Thank you very much.